Imagine holding a tiny silver coin in your palm, smaller than a quarter, lighter than your keys, yet powerful enough to change your entire life. Money. This isn't fantasy, it's real. And right now, across the United States, hidden in old drawers, forgotten collections, and dusty change jars, there are Mercury dimes worth more than luxury cars, houses, and even entire college tuitions. But here's the twist. Only a few people know which ones hold that power. These aren't just coins. They're time machines of American history, each carrying a secret legacy of the mint, a whisper from the 1920s, and a fortune waiting to be discovered. In today's video, we're unlocking the top 5 ultra-rare and most valuable Mercury dimes in the world. Stay with me till the very end, because the last one will absolutely shock you. It's a story even expert collectors can't believe. And remember, the values I'll reveal aren't stories from the past. These are today's real market prices, climbing higher every single day. So buckle up, coin lovers, treasure hunters, and dream chasers, because what you're about to see could turn a single forgotten dime into your greatest discovery ever. This is Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, and today we dive deep into America's hidden silver fortune. Coin number 1. Now, as we begin our hunt, let's travel back almost a century to 1927. It was an age of jazz, roaring dreams, and a nation bursting with energy before the Great Depression would shake the world. But deep inside the San Francisco Mint, something extraordinary was born. A small silver coin that would silently defy time itself. The 1927 with S Mercury dime. At first glance, it looks humble, just another dime. But look closer and you will see a silent legend hiding in plain sight. A soft silver shade with gray dotted whispers across its face, the signs of age, history, and endurance. And stamped proudly on its reverse, that small, simple S mint mark. The sign that this coin came from the San Francisco Mint, the smallest, rarest production run of the Mercury series that year. The Mercury dime, officially known as the Winged Liberty Head dime, was sculpted by the genius engraver Adolph A. Weinman. He wasn't just designing a coin, he was sculpting a symbol of freedom of thought, of American spirit, and the unstoppable will to rise higher. The wings on Liberty's cap weren't just decoration, they represented the flight of freedom itself. But in 1927, something unusual happened. The San Francisco Mint, facing silver shortages and limited demand, struck far fewer dimes than normal. Only a fraction of what the Philadelphia and Denver mints produced ever saw daylight. Most were used, traded, lost, or melted down in later decades. And that's how a quiet, unassuming coin became one of America's rarest silver survivors. You might think it's just a dime, but numismatists know this. The 1927 with S is a legend. Its surfaces often come with a soft gray patina, a natural silver shadow that tells you it has truly lived a century. The strike quality from the San Francisco Mint was softer, making high-grade examples almost impossible to find. Every fine detail of Liberty's wing, every faint letter on the word Liberty, becomes a sign of authenticity, a heartbeat of time captured in metal. Collectors search for this one, like treasure hunters search for gold in rivers, because finding a fine condition 1927 with S Mercury dime today is like uncovering a ghost from the roaring 20s itself. And now here's where it gets unbelievable. This particular coin, the 1927 with S with its silver shade and graceful gray dots, stands today as one of the ultra-rare Mercury dimes in the entire world. In fine condition, this small piece of silver has achieved something that shocks even experts and collectors alike. Because its current market value today sits around a staggering $155,000 for a single dime. And that number isn't fiction. It's reality. It's the truth that has sent ripples across the coin collecting world. Every major auction house, every serious numismatist, every silver investor watches this coin's movement closely because its value keeps climbing year after year. You're not just looking at a coin, you're looking at a treasure, a time capsule of American silver wealth. It's as if you're holding a small, round key that opens a vault to history and fortune combined. Why is it rising in value? Because supply has practically vanished. Most of these coins never survived the Great Depression. Silver melts in later decades wiped out thousands more. Today, it's believed that only a small handful of genuine fine condition 1927 with S dimes exist in collector hands, and even fewer are available for sale. Every time one reappears on the market, it sets new records. The demand keeps exploding, and serious collectors battle fiercely for a chance to own one. For collectors, this isn't just about silver, it's about history preserved. It's about owning a piece of a nation's story. When you hold this dime, you're holding 1927 in your hands, a time when jazz echoed through America. Ford Model Ts ruled the roads, and people dropped these coins into payphones for knowing that one day they'd be worth a small fortune. The 1927 with S Mercury dime is pure magic, a perfect storm of rarity, beauty, and legacy. It's a reminder that even the smallest things can carry the heaviest value if you have the eye to see it. So if you ever come across a Mercury dime, don't pass it by. Look closely. Flip it over. If you see that tiny S mint mark at the bottom, hold your breath. You might just be holding a silent fortune, a treasure that has waited a century to be rediscovered. Because the market value of this coin isn't just money, it's momentum. It's growing, it's thriving, and every expert knows this silver whisper is not done rising yet. It's one of those once-in-a-lifetime coins whose price chart never looks back. Don't take this as a story, take it as truth. Because somewhere in America right now, someone is holding this exact coin, maybe without realizing that they're holding over $150,000 of pure history in their palm. And that, my friends, is just the beginning of our journey. We've only touched the first of the five, and if you thought $155,000 was shocking, wait until you see what's coming next. Because the next Mercury dime in our list will take rarity to a whole new level. A coin so scarce, even expert collectors call it a ghost of silver. Stay tuned, because the deeper we go, the bigger the treasures become. This is Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, where history meets hidden fortune, and we're just getting started. Coin number 2. Sometimes the most powerful treasures don't announce their arrival with gold or glory. They slip quietly through history, disguised as something ordinary. And that's exactly how one of the most mysterious Mercury dimes of all time came to be. The 1945 Mercury dime without a mint mark. It was the final year of a legend. World War II was ending. The nation was healing, the soldiers were coming home, and the world was ready to rebuild. And while millions of people celebrated peace, deep inside the Philadelphia Mint, something extraordinary happened. A final breath of silver art was struck, and it would one day become one of America's most valuable dimes ever. The Mercury dime, or as some call it, the Winged Liberty Head dime, was a symbol of American hope. Created by master engraver Adolph A. Weinman, its design captured everything that defined the American soul: freedom, flight, courage, and brilliance. And by 1945, it was the end of an era. The U.S. Mint was preparing to replace the Mercury design with the Roosevelt dime to honor the recently fallen president. But in that final year, a limited batch of Mercury dimes rolled off the presses without a mint mark, no D, no S, just a silent, pure Philadelphia strike. What most people didn't know then was that these last Mercury dimes would carry a mysterious twist that would shake collectors for decades. You see, in 1945, the Mint's tools were wearing out. The dies, the steel molds that stamp each design, had been used again and again during wartime production. This caused small, unusual details to appear. Some dimes came out with sharper wing feathers, others with faint, almost ghost-like edges. And then came the few, the rarest of the rare, that emerged with a perfect strike, clean, flawless, and brilliant in silver. Those few became legends. And among them, one particular type, the 1945 without mint mark Mercury dime, became the crown jewel of that entire final run. It may not carry a mint mark, but it carries something far more valuable: finality. This coin marks the last breath of the Mercury dime series before history turned the page. Every curve of Liberty's face, every winged feather on her cap, is a frozen echo of America's triumph after war. When you look at it, you're not just seeing silver, you're seeing the end of an age. Collectors today whisper about this coin with reverence. It's not just rare, it's almost mythical, because very few of these dimes survive the decades in very fine condition. Most were spent worn smooth by years of use, but the few that remain, shining in silver shade, sharp and dignified, have become priceless artifacts of America's victory year. And now comes the moment that makes every coin hunter's heart skip a beat. Because this particular 1945 Mercury dime, without a mint mark, in very fine condition, holds a current market value of around $133,500. Yes, over $133,000 for a single dime. And this isn't hype, this isn't a rumor, this is the real, verifiable truth. Auction records, private collector sales, and rare coin markets have confirmed again and again that this coin's price keeps climbing as supply keeps disappearing. Its demand is so powerful that even the faintest trace of originality, even the smallest detail of the strike, sends prices soaring. Every collector who lays eyes on it feels the same chill, the feeling that they are looking at something more than silver, they are looking at destiny cast in metal. What makes it so valuable? It's not just age, it's the symbolism. This dime isn't just a piece of currency, it's a farewell letter from one of the most beautiful designs in the United States. Coinage history. It's the moment where an icon bowed gracefully to time, leaving behind a few silver signatures of its existence. And those signatures now live in collector vaults, museums, and safes, guarded like treasure. Even in the world of numismatics, experts agree the 1945 Mercury dime without mint mark represents one of the finest combinations of rarity, beauty, and emotional connection. Each one is like a relic from America's turning point, and with every passing year, their numbers shrink while their worth continues to rise. If you ever come across a Mercury dime, take a moment. Run your fingers across its edge and look just beneath the olive branch on the reverse. If there's no mint mark, and if it shines with that timeless silver shade, you might be holding one of the final breaths of America's silver art. And believe me, its value is growing like wildfire. Collectors around the world are watching it. Auction houses are competing for it, and its price chart keeps climbing upward, one sale at a time. Don't dismiss it as just an old coin, because this dime could be the silent fortune you never knew existed. It's not less than a treasure, it is a treasure. And every day, its worth reminds us that even in the smallest things, history hides the biggest rewards. So as we close the chapter on the year 1945 Mercury dime, the last silver whisper of an American legend, remember this. Not all treasures come in gold bars or jewels. Some come in the size of a dime, shimmering with the light of history and carrying a value that grows every sunrise. We're only halfway through our journey. The next Mercury dime will take us into territory so rare, so unbelievable, it will make even this $133,500 beauty look modest. You won't want to blink for what's coming next. This is Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, your daily key to America's hidden silver fortunes. Coin 3. Before America roared into the 1920s, before the jazz, before the skyscrapers, before the legend of prosperity, there was 1918. A year caught between war and peace. The Great War had just ended, the nation was rebuilding, and the United States Mint was operating under immense pressure to restore the nation's currency flow. In that very year, inside the Denver Mint, something remarkable and unrepeatable was born. A small silver coin struck quietly, almost overlooked in the chaos of post-war recovery. The 1918 with D Mercury dime. It may look modest, a tiny 10-cent piece, but this little coin would soon carry a reputation that would shake the coin-collecting world for generations to come. The Mercury dime's design had already captured America's heart. Created by Adolf A. Wyman, this wasn't just metal, it was art. The winged Liberty head wasn't meant to represent the Roman god Mercury, as many think. No, it represented freedom of thought, the very spirit of an America that refused to be caged by limits. And in 1918, that message meant everything. The war had changed the world forever, and Weinman's design symbolized the rebirth of liberty itself. The Denver Mint's production that year was modest, but the true story lies in how few of these coins survived in strong, fine condition. The 1918 with D Mercury dime is one of the hardest early-date Mercury dimes to find with sharp details and a clean strike. Most coins from that Denver batch were weakly struck, worn out quickly in circulation or lost to time. But every now and then, one surfaces, shimmering in silver shade with faint gray dots, a sign of pure authenticity, a whisper of its century-long journey through pockets, drawers, and hidden collections. Collectors who find one in fine condition know they're staring at a survivor, one that slipped through the cracks of time when thousands perished in the silver melts and wartime shortages that followed. Every line on Liberty's winged cap, every letter on that small D mint mark on the reverse tells a story. That tiny D standing for Denver is what makes this coin extraordinary. Because while millions of dimes were struck across America, the Denver mintage that year was one of the smallest and most fragile. Many were struck off center, many were melted down in later decades. And those that remain have become jewels of silver history. Numismatists agree finding a 1918 with D Mercury dime in fine condition, is like discovering a lost painting by a forgotten master. Each one has its own unique texture, its own fingerprint of time, a gentle patina of gray, the shimmer of silver, the quiet echo of 1918's soul. And here's the moment that defines this masterpiece. Because today, in the modern collector's market, a 1918 with Mercury dime in fine condition stands at a staggering market value of around $168,000. Yes, $168,000 for a dime barely an inch across. But this isn't exaggeration, this is the living truth of the rare coin world. Auction houses have seen these coins ignite bidding wars that leave experts stunned. Private collectors hold them like family heirlooms. Every time one is discovered, its price climbs higher. And believe it or not, this coin's value is still rising. Each year its worth grows stronger, its reputation more powerful. It's not a mere collectible anymore, it's an investment-grade relic, a fortune forged in silver. Think about it, this coin was struck when the world was just learning to breathe again after war. And now, a century later, it stands as one of the most hunted Mercury dimes on Earth. It's as if time itself blessed this coin with endurance. And in return, collectors blessed it with immortality. That's why the 1918 with Mercury dime isn't just rare, it's revered. Its story blends artistry, resilience, and historical power. The silver shade, the gray freckles of age, the softly worn edges, they all create a visual poetry that no modern coin could ever replicate. For collectors and treasure seekers, this coin is a dream, a symbol of how even the smallest piece of metal can carry infinite history. When you hold it, you feel the echo of 1918, the soldiers returning home, the factories humming again, the nation rebuilding itself, and amidst all that, this tiny dime being passed from one hand to another, completely unaware of the legend it would become. If you ever come across a 1918 Mercury dime with a bold D beneath the olive branch, don't underestimate what you're holding. It's not pocket change, it's a time capsule. A century of history, survival, and silver artistry captured forever in your palm. And here's the truth, the market value of this coin keeps climbing just like its legend. Don't take that lightly. The 1918 with Mercury dime has already become a cornerstone of American coin heritage, and experts believe its value will only grow. It's not fiction, it's fact. And in today's market, it's as close to holding a real treasure as you can get without digging for gold. So remember, if you are lucky enough to find one, you are not just a collector. You're a guardian of a story that began more than 100 years ago, a story worth far more than silver itself. And with that, we close the chapter on 1918 with Mercury dime, the coin that survived the end of war, the test of time, and emerged as one of the greatest hidden treasures in American numismatic history. But don't even think we're done yet, because the next coin on our list takes rarity to a level you've never seen before. A coin so elusive, even veteran collectors call it the Phantom of Silver. This is rare U.S. coin secrets, bringing you the stories, the power, and the treasures that time forgot, updated every single day. Coin number 4. By 1944, the world was at war. Factories ran day and night, and the United States was at full strength, building ships, tanks, and hope. But even in those fiery years, when every ounce of metal mattered, something remarkable was struck at the Denver Mint. A small silver coin that carried both the weight of war and the light of liberty. That coin was the 1944 with Mercury dime, a coin so ordinary in size, yet so extraordinary in destiny. This was one of the last great Mercury dimes before the design would vanish forever. And this particular piece, with its soft brown dots and a graceful silver shimmer, is far more than just an old dime. It's a symbol of America's courage in its hardest hour, struck in the shadow of war but glowing with beauty and pride. Minted in Denver, the D Mint mark tells a powerful story. The Denver Mint was one of the busiest during World War II, supplying coins for a nation in motion. But despite the massive demand, not all Mercury dimes were created equal. The Denver issues of 1944 carried small imperfections, subtle variations in strike, toning, and metal mix that would later make some of them breathtakingly rare. Imagine it, 1944. Across the ocean, victory was near. At home, families saved silver, copper, and steel to support the troops. And yet, amidst all this effort, the Denver Mint quietly struck a small number of Mercury dimes whose shine and composition stood apart. The silver from that batch aged differently. It carried a faint warmth, a tone that deepened into soft brown specks over decades. To collectors today, those tiny brown dots aren't flaws. They're fingerprints of time. Each one is a mark of authenticity, proof that this coin truly lived through the most defining moments of the 20th century. The Mercury dime itself, designed by Adolf A. Weinman, remained one of America's most loved and artistically perfect coins. Its winged liberty head represented the flight of freedom and thought, a fitting emblem for a world fighting for liberty itself. But the 1944 with D is special. It was among the final runs before the war ended, before the coin's long and glorious journey came to an end in 1945. And yet, only a few of these Denver issues survived the decades without heavy wear. Most were spent, melted, or corroded beyond recognition. The few that did survive in fine condition, showing that distinct silver sheen and gentle brown dots, became more than collectibles. They became living artifacts. Collectors call this coin the hidden flame of the home front, because while soldiers fought overseas, these coins kept America's economy alive, changing hands in stores, train stations, and post offices. Each one told a story of unity and resilience. And today, the few surviving 1944 with D Mercury dimes with those beautiful natural brown tones have reached a level of desirability that even veteran collectors can't ignore. They're a bridge between patriotism and art, between the nation's spirit and its silver legacy. But here's where this story takes a stunning turn. That small war-era dime you're looking at right now in fine condition, with its unmistakable Denver D and its graceful aging, has a current market value of around $135,000. Yes, $135,000. Not for a gold coin, not for a bar of silver. For a single humble Mercury dime, a piece of American history that has become a treasure of the modern age. And this isn't an exaggeration. Auction floors have seen jaws drop when these coins appear. Private collectors have paid prices that once sounded impossible, because they all know one truth: this coin's worth isn't just measured in dollars. It's measured in legacy. The reason it commands such value is rarity with character. The 1944 with D's unique toning patterns, coupled with its limited survival and fine condition, have made it a centerpiece of the Mercury series. Its market value has risen sharply over the past decade, and experts agree this is just the beginning. Every year, demand climbs higher while the available coins grow fewer. The collectors who own one hold not just a coin, but a piece of time itself. The 1944 with D is a whisper from the past, the sound of freedom being minted, of America finding its strength again. If you ever find one of these Mercury dimes, look beneath the olive branch on the back. If you spot that tiny D mint mark, pause for a moment. You could be holding a treasure that has survived one of the most turbulent chapters in world history, a coin that carries the spirit of victory, resilience, and freedom. Because this isn't pocket change, it's a century-old witness. And its beauty, its tone, its condition, all of it comes together to tell a story no modern coin could ever match. The market value keeps rising. The demand never stops. And this little dime stands as proof that sometimes the smallest pieces of silver carry the biggest weight of history. So as we close the story of 1944 with D Mercury dime, remember this: it's not just rare, it's radiant. It's one of those coins that remind us that value isn't always measured by size, but by survival and soul. And here's the truth: the market for this dime is heating up more every year. Don't take it as fiction. Take it as a fact from the heart of the numismatic world. Collectors know once this coin appears, it's gone again into private hands, its value climbing quietly in the dark. But what's coming next will take your breath away, because the final Mercury dime on our list isn't just rare, it's legendary. It is a silver masterpiece that rewrote the record books of American coinage. This is Rare U.S. Coin Secrets, your daily window into America's hidden treasures. Coin number 5. In 1940, the world stood on the edge of chaos. Nations trembled, alliances shifted, and history prepared to write its darkest chapter, World War II. But before America joined the fight, before the storm truly began, the U.S. Mint quietly struck a series of coins that would one day become whispers of that uncertain age. One of those coins, a simple 1940 silver coin without a mint mark, would grow to become one of the most hauntingly beautiful rarities in American numismatic history. They called it ordinary once. A coin without a mint mark, just another piece of change from the Philadelphia Mint. But time has proven that ordinary things born in extraordinary times can become priceless treasures. This particular coin with its silver shade and subtle gray spot isn't just rare, it's a relic of calm before chaos. A moment frozen between peace and war. Picture America in 1940. The country was still climbing out of the Great Depression. Factories were starting to hum again. People carried silver coins with pride, each one a symbol of hope, a promise that better days were coming. And yet, even as the world watched Europe descend into flames, the Philadelphia Mint continued its work, striking millions of coins to fuel the nation's economy. But within that massive production run, a few coins stood apart, coins with near-perfect strikes, remarkable luster, and silver composition that aged differently over time. Coins like this one, the 1940 no mint mark silver beauty, began to reveal something unusual decades later, a soft, natural gray spot that appeared like a shadow from the past. To the untrained eye, that gray spot might look like tarnish, but to collectors it's a signature, a mark that tells the story of metal purity, storage history, and time itself. It's a rare aging pattern caused by the reaction between the coin's silver alloy and the environment of its era, a unique chemical fingerprint that proves authenticity and natural preservation. And that's what makes this 1940 no mint mark coin so valuable. While millions were minted, only a few survived in this state, silver shade, light gray spot, and very fine condition. Each one is now a historical masterpiece, blending natural aging with the legacy of a world on the brink. The design itself, whether it is a Mercury dime, a Jefferson nickel, or another silver issue, tells a story of American ideals. Liberty, strength, peace through perseverance. These were not just words, they were values engraved in silver, struck for a nation that would soon face its greatest test. And now, nearly a century later, this coin has outlived its generation. It has passed through hands that lived the 1940s, through pockets of soldiers, workers, and families who had no idea they were holding something that would one day be worth over $146,500. Yes, you heard that right. A single 1940 no mint mark silver coin, once worth just 10 cents, can today command up to $146,500 in the collector's market. Why? Because of its condition, rarity, and timing. Coins from this era without a mint mark often came from the Philadelphia Mint, the nation's oldest and most iconic mint. But few were preserved. Most circulated endlessly, worn, scratched, lost. Only a handful survived with their original silver brilliance, lightly toned by time and accented by that haunting gray spot, a natural patina that turns simple metal into living art. Collectors call it the whisper before the storm, because this 1940 no mint mark coin represents the last breath of peacetime America. Within a year, everything would change. War bonds, metal shortages, minting changes, and rationing would redefine coinage forever. But this coin, this one remained untouched, a perfect messenger from the quiet before history erupted. When you hold a coin like this, you are not just touching silver. You're touching 1940 itself, a time when people still dreamed freely, when silver still meant stability, and when the smallest things like a dime or a quarter could carry the weight of hope. That's why collectors are paying record prices. Because this isn't just about metal or mint marks. It's about memory. It's about the thin line between everyday change and enduring history. So next time you come across an old silver coin from 1940 with no mint mark, don't dismiss it. Look closely. If you see that gentle gray spot, if the surface glows with that quiet silver shade and the details still sing through the years, you may just be holding a six-figure treasure. A treasure that tells the story of America standing on the edge of destiny. The 1940 no mint mark silver coin isn't just rare, it's sacred in its silence. A piece of history that whispers louder than gold. Its market value today is $146,500 and reflects not just demand but respect. Respect for craftsmanship, endurance, and the timeless beauty of simplicity. And as we close this chapter in our journey through America's rarest coins, remember this. Sometimes the most valuable treasures are the ones that speak the least. The ones that survived history's storms in silence. The 1940 no mint mark silver coin is that treasure, humble, haunting, and priceless. This is Rare U.S. Coin Secrets. Like, share, and subscribe because tomorrow's story might just be sitting in your pocket.